Hey fam, what's good? What's good? I hope this you're well and keeping safe. Welcome back to another one. Right. So over the course of this morning, we found ourselves making a beautiful online session. Well, not an online session, but a breakdown on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq. And I basically said that I would love to see some shorts finding itself opening up over the course of today. Right now, we can see that we are having some sort of initial shift back towards the downside. And I kind of feel like I already missed out on my trade. But you know what? We are going to find ourselves being quite reactive when it comes down to price, right? So looking at our H4 time frame, we can clearly see that we had a beautiful shift towards the upside. And we found ourselves actually leaving an indecisive candle right over here, right? So this simply means that either way, we can find ourselves just having a bounce to the upside from this area, or we're just going to find ourselves having an actual shift back towards the downside when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? So what I will find myself doing is just simply go to my DXY and see what is happening over here. So on the DXY, we can clearly see that, you know what, we are failing to find ourselves having that shift towards the upside. However, you know what, let me go on the 1 hourly. Let's see what's happening over here. 1 hourly time frame, we are finding ourselves taking out some equal lows. So there is still that possibility of us having that shift towards the upside, right? But seeing the DXY having the shift towards the downside as well as the Nasdaq, you know what? To me, that is also something nice because that simply means that, you know what, that downwards momentum we have found ourselves creating on the DXY, you know what, we need to find ourselves reflecting that on the Nasdaq as well, right? So we can potentially see still that shift towards the upside before having that actual a potential continuation move back towards the downside, right? So looking at the H1 time frame right over here, I can clearly see that we are finding ourselves having a beautiful area of supply coming through right over there as well. You know what? So a potential shift back into this area for that dip back towards the downside will actually be appreciated. Because keep in mind, what I basically said this morning was simply that all I'm looking at now is simply just liquidity, right? And we can clearly see that liquidity has been violated right over there, right? And currently we can see that, you know what, we are taking out those lows as well, right? So scaling to my 15-minute time frame, this is simply where we can see that, hey, this was a beautiful trade which found itself opening up, right? We can see that that high was basically violated right over there with the buy side, right? And if we are gonna just come down with a low right over there, we can see that this low has been violated as well, right over there as well with our sell side liquidity. But not only was it that we took out sell side, right, but this was also a change in market structure, right? So we had a market structure shift right over there. And if you can get out that from that high to that low, we can see that, you know, we came back into the actual 50 percentage, which is also finding itself lining up within this beautiful breaker we have found ourselves creating right over there. So your trade would have then simply found itself looking at something like this if you would have found yourself going short there, maybe like a nice 30 pips for a beautiful 60 pip move back towards the downside. So you know what, your take profit would have been actually smacked, well, almost smacked if you were, you know what, finding yourself participating with price right over there. Yeah, you know what, these things happen, right? These things happen. We're just gonna have to find ourselves being quite reactive with what price is currently presenting to us, right? So if I maybe can go on a 5-minute time frame and just see something, right? So on the 5-minute time frame, what I can see is that we do have some relatively equal lows coming through over here as well. So currently we can see that price is finding itself taking out liquidity right over there. So all I'm going to find myself doing is simply box out these relatively equal lows as well. Just like that. And then I can also see that we have a swing low right over there. So that will basically just be some sell side liquidity. That will just be like normal sell side liquidity. It's just a simple turning point which I am seeing. Right. So can we potentially have that actual shift towards the upside from this area onwards, or will prices find itself having some sort of a tank back towards the downside? Hey, you know what? I am quite, you know, yeah, you know what? This was a beautiful shift to the downside. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful shift towards the downside. So at this current moment, what we can see is that, I can't do anything at this moment, right? At this current moment, I cannot find myself doing anything, right? I'm gonna have to wait for price to find itself opening up an opportunity for me, right? And in this case, it will simply be to potentially have a beautiful momentum back towards the upside, at least back into the low of the area of supply, which we have found ourselves boxing out, which is basically coming through right over there, right? So if I maybe can just remove this and just keep my area of supply open, just like that, just like that. That is a nice little point of interest, right? Free value gap is being tapped into now as well. So, hey, beautiful shift. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shift. Right. So yeah, this right here was supposed to be like a live session, right, for my community as well. But I guess that is one of the cons of having like a small group of people, right? Like a small community, as they are finding themselves working at this current moment, right? So it is quite a pity that, they are finding themselves being quite occupied. But you know what? I want to find myself doing this more for 2025, right? 2025, I want to find myself doing more of this. So I'm basically just preparing for for this whatsoever. So if you guys would love to find yourself being a part of the community, right, the link will be in the description. It's simply my Patreon page. It does come with a cost of $7, right? So if you are going to find yourself joining now, you know what, we aren't going to find ourselves having some online session from next month onwards, right? We're not going to find ourselves having that. So you will find yourself having access to pre-recorded content, right? You will find yourself having access to a full course from beginner to advanced. You will find yourself having 100+ content of, us just tracking this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? So that right there you can find yourself keeping yourself busy with those content, as well as it is quite valuable content as well, right? So yeah, if you would like to join the Patreon page, the link will be down below, right? Also, do make sure once you join, contact me, right? Because you need to find yourself also downloading the Discord, because on the Discord, I basically found myself organizing everything quite neatly so that you can just simply, follow the guidelines of what is happening like on the Discord itself, right? So yeah, that is pretty cool right there. So yeah, and that is our Patreon page. All right. So other than that, all I can find myself doing at this moment right now is simply just wait and see what price can find itself opening up, right? So realistically, what I will be waiting out for is this, if we can have like a correction, shift down, back up, retest, and then I will find myself going long, right? But if we are just going to find ourselves having the shift, then unfortunately, there is no trade for me over the course of today. And keep in mind that, these live sessions, they are not financial advice whatsoever, right? These live sessions is simply just me showing you what I am doing and what I am finding myself looking out for. That I'm not saying that you should be buying or selling price whatsoever, right? This is no signal group, nothing like that. Okay, I don't even put myself, yeah, it's not a signal group whatsoever. I don't provide signal, right? I am fully against that. I am fully against that. And for those who's been following me for quite a while, you guys know that I'm more focused on building some nice independent traders, right? People who can find themselves thinking on their own, and people who can simply find themselves, not be dependent on the next person, right? So if you can just simply find yourself building up that skill set and, trust actually inside, well, build trust within the skill set, right? And just finding yourself applying it and really find yourself putting in the work. Because I'm not too sure how long will it take you, right? It may take you a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know how long, right? It all depends on your work ethic at the end of the day, right? So I am more focused on building independent traders, right? People who can actually think for themselves, because that is me, right? That is me. So yeah, you know, that's it. That's it. That is it. So all I'm gonna find myself doing is just box out the corrections we are gonna find ourselves creating, just like that, because ultimately I just want to see a closure above. That's it. That so yeah, you know, that is it. And all I'm finding myself doing is trading the Nasdaq, right? And the reason to why I'm only trading the Nasdaq is because, you know, I look at it like this. If you are starting off your journey, right? Whether this is business, I don't know, like anything, right? You want to find yourself having one skill set, right? And from that skill set, you want to find yourself capitalizing off that, right? So you want to find yourself making money off that, right? So if you are having this one asset or one business in mind, right, over here, and you are struggling within this one section, right, you aren't necessarily going to find yourself wanting to start a second business as well, right? And then a third business as well. No, what you want to do is you want to focus on this one business, right? And through all the ups, through all the downs whatsoever, you are finding yourself learning what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, enable for your business to find itself growing, right? So that is basically how I'm finding myself looking at this, right? You don't want to find yourself running on one treadmill and then all of a sudden you want to run on two treadmills consecutively, right? When you didn't even find yourself, when you don't even know how to run on one treadmill whatsoever, right? So that's the main reasoning to why I'm only finding myself trading the Nasdaq, simply because I want to make sure that, you know what, I know what I'm doing, right? I know what I am doing. And that to me is all that matters, right? That to me is all that matters. I want to make sure that I am having something that can feed me. One skill set, one asset, one pay that can feed me, my bread and my butter, right? And currently it is the Nasdaq, right? It's the Nasdaq. So that's the main reasoning to why I only find myself trading the Nasdaq, right? And yeah, you know, I don't necessarily find myself looking at any other trades, right? Or any other pairs whatsoever. And if I do, you know what, I will just simply find myself looking at it, but it won't be as in depth, it won't be as precise, I won't be confident in it. Let me put it like that, right? I won't be confident inside that one pay. So yeah, you know, that's why I'm only finding myself focusing on the Nasdaq and just simply trading the Nasdaq, because I had that comment over the course of this morning, right? And yeah, you know, that's why so I hope that you understand why I'm only finding myself going through the Nasdaq, right? So if I would have to find myself looking at another pay, I would have to study, I have to find myself journaling, you know, and the whole 110 things, right? So I don't necessarily find myself treating all the pays the same, because I don't believe that all the pays move the same, right? Not all the pays move like the Nasdaq. That's 110% sure. Well, I'm 110% sure about that. So yeah, you know, focus on one pay. And if you are on my channel and you are finding yourself watching me, you know what? Focus on one pay, focus on this pay, the Nasdaq, right? And what I am basically showing you, you can just simply find yourself going into your charts and then, you know what, simply just go back test it and go implement it on your side and see if this is working for you. Because at the end of the day, you know what I am doing on the YouTube platform is also just something to what you guys can see what I am doing on the Patreon as well, right? So that you can at least have some sort of transparency of what is up, right? Of what you can find yourself expecting. So yeah, that's that. So we do have around about 15 minutes left for the New York Stock Exchange to find itself opening up, right? All I'm finding myself doing at this point is just marking off these little corrections we are finding ourselves creating, right? And I just want to see a closure above them, and I will then find myself participating with price, right? I'll then find myself participating with PA. We did find ourselves having some not nice price action throughout, well, from Thursday, I want to say. You know what, on Thursday I got smacked. On Friday I also got smacked, but I didn't find myself taking the trade. I was just monitoring price, right? And yesterday, my first trade, I also got smacked on that one, but then the second trade I then found myself making back, right? So yeah, you know, quite sloppy momentum or sloppy movement when it comes down to PA. But ultimately, you know what, we still need to find ourselves doing what we are doing. All right. So clean stuff. I just found myself boxing up this area. But now one thing I want you to take into consideration is that we are having a closure above this area. D, are you going to find yourself going long from here? No, I am not, simply because we have some equal lows coming through right over there, right? So I rather would want to see price take out those equal lows and then have a closure above these down, well, up close candles, which we have found ourselves creating right over there. Okay, then only I will find myself being quite or more confident in wanting to find myself looking for some beautiful longs, right? Because that is just something inside my trading plan. That is just something that I'm finding myself seeing happening on the Nasdaq quite frequently, right? So this over here is like a fake out, how I'm looking at it, right? Quite a fake out. So many traders most probably would find themselves going long, but forgetting that, you know what, we do have liquidity resting below price over there. So there's still that possibility of us having that shift to the downside, then potentially up for that shift, you know, for that buying opportunity to find itself opening up, right? So that is it for the Nasdaq. And fam, listen, in the comment section, let me know, how are you finding yourself, you know what, taking in this information? Are you finding yourself, is this valuable for you, right? Do you like this type of content? Yeah, you know, let me know, because I do know that not too many traders are finding themselves doing it as how we are doing it on this platform, right? And I think that more traders should actually do it like how we are doing it, simply because that, you know, just for transparency's sake, right? So that you can at least know, if you want to buy into someone's service, you know what is up, right? Because someone can just simply just show some blue screens whole time, right? But then you get into the service, because trust me, this is literally what I found myself experiencing, right? Showing blue screens, get into the service, and then the person can barely analyze the charts. You want that? Hell no, right? Hell no. You don't want that inside your journey, right? You don't want that inside your journey. Or you just simply find yourself seeing all blue screens, right? And then you get into the service whatsoever, and there's nothing for you to basically learn, right? And many people are doing it like that, yeah, outside, right? Many people are finding themselves doing it. So you know what, I would actually like if other traders could find themselves doing it as how we are finding ourselves doing it over here, right? So if you guys love this, make sure to share this around, right? Make sure to share it around. There you guys can see that we did find ourselves taking out liquidity right over there, right? So now it's literally just a patient game. We do have 20 minutes, well, 10 minutes left for the New York Stock Exchange to find itself opening up. So let's monitor price. Only time I will find myself buying is if we can see a closure above that high right over there. All right. That is the only time I will find myself looking for some longs. Yeah, so let's wait. Let's wait and see what can potentially happen on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? And also, you know what, if you know what, if you need any if you want me to provide you with some signals, you know what, just contact me. I'll sort you out with some signals, right? I'll work like, if your favorite mentor, you know, if you find, if there is not, you know what, going on like, if the stuff is just not too nice, right? For me. I will work like at the back. I will be like behind the scenes. Nobody is seeing me, right? And I will just provide the information to you, right? To the mentor, and the mentor provide the information to the students. I don't know though. I don't know. Like that sounds pretty nice to me. So I in fact, fun fact, fam, fun fact. Let me tell you this. When I basically started off this journey, I never ever wanted to find myself being on YouTube. Right? In fact, I never wanted to find myself being anywhere. I just wanted to be low key, trading on my own, and just do what I need to find myself doing. Right? But then, since I was like so shy and everything, I was just like, if it, I'm just gonna come on YouTube and I'm gonna now just document myself, and I'm gonna go with it. Till this year, like actually like a few months ago, I was like, maybe I can find myself doing this quite more often, right? Maybe I can find myself uploading more, and see where this journey can find itself taking me. Because I mean, YouTube itself is a business on its own as well, right? And you need to keep that in mind. So if you are a trader, or you are an entrepreneur and you are finding yourself having a business whatsoever, right? Start off a YouTube channel, document it on YouTube, upload it there. There's always a next person who wants to find him or herself doing what you are doing. But they are just simply too scared to find themselves, just initiating it and just do it, right? They're too scared to find themselves doing that. So if you have anything up your sleeve which you are doing, document it on YouTube, right? Because not only are you sharing information to the next person, right, but you are also feeding the next person some, some confidence and some insight of what the person can basically expect within that niche you are finding yourself, presenting or doing whatever you are finding yourself doing, right? So yeah, I will actually advise everyone to find themselves documenting their journey. It's a beautiful thing, right? But yeah, I always want to find myself just being behind the scenes and doing what I am and do what I need to find myself doing, right? So I think that maybe in the future, that will maybe be a possibility, right? That will maybe be a possibility to where I can just simply sit back a little bit and most probably have, I don't know, like I don't know, like, but just walk behind the scenes, right? I won't find myself necessarily being in front of the camera always, and do what I'm currently doing, right? And I think that, and you know what, with me basically talking all of these things is basically me putting it out there, right? I'm putting it out there. Just like, just like as if this moment, right? Like I'm telling you, like I want to find myself making a bunch of money, right? I want to find myself driving that blue SVJ, that Lamborghini, and that it must be a blue one. I want to find myself living in a mansion, which I found myself building myself at an actual mountain, right? On top of an actual mountain. That is what I want, right? And that right there is exactly what I'm finding myself working towards, right? And I always have this thing of, I'm going to try my utmost best, right? And whether I achieve it, whether I don't find myself achieving it, right? I can always say that I tried, right? I can always say that I tried. And I always feared what people will say or what people will think whatsoever. But fam, like once you do it, it's nothing. It's honestly nothing. Like when I basically did this for the first time, we're doing some live trading with the community for the first time. I was so nervous that my emotions was all over the place, because now I'm finding myself tapping into something new, right? And I was just super nervous. And then just after that, then I realized, but hey, yo, I'm doing this every day. Like, why am I nervous? Right. And yeah, boom. And now I'm here. Now I can find myself doing this quite regularly, right? And yeah, it's actually really nice. It's really really nice. So yeah, whatever you are finding yourself doing, with whatever fear you are having with the journey you want to tap into, like, it's honestly not that big, right? It's honestly not that big. The worst that can find itself happening is people judging you, people laughing at you. Like, that's the worst that can happen, right? But you need to keep in mind that people will always judge you. Whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, people will always judge you. The only person, or the only force that will never ever judge you and wants you to succeed is the man above. It's God, right? And that's the only force you need to find yourself focusing on. That's the only force you need to find yourself living through, right? Don't live through what people want you to find yourself doing. Nah, you know what? No. Mm-mm. That's why so many people are finding themselves being confident in themselves, because people laugh at them, because people always have something to say, to criticize. Right? No, don't. I don't care no more. Like, I'm at that point where I just simply don't care. So we do have around about 2 minutes left, right? That was like a nice little, almost like a half an hour talk. I'm also finding myself trying to talk a little bit more to get used to it, right? To get used to a little bit of talking, simply because I like this. Look at the 3 minute. Nice. Right. Simply because I couldn't find myself talking a lot. So now I'm trying to find myself doing that. Because I mean, if I want to do some live streaming for like a really long time whatsoever, I need to get used to talking, right? Because I find it quite hard to express what's going on over here. So I have to get used to it. But nonetheless, though, we're working on that. We are working on many things. And the only thing that matters is, you know what? Slow progress is better than no progress, right? Slow progress is better than no progress. And yeah, if you can find yourself reaching that goal, you're good. I'm happy for you. I'm extremely happy for you. Okay. We have a few seconds left. We have about 30 seconds left for the New York Stock Exchange to find itself opening up for us, right? So we can basically find ourselves going long on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq. Here we can see like a small little, can actually fly from this area onwards, but I'm not gonna take that risk. I'm just gonna wait. So closure above, retest, long we go. Upsy daisy. Upsy daisy. We can actually look at this area over here as well. I can actually look at this area over here as well. That's why I'm going to keep both of them intact, right? So even if price will find itself having a closure above here, I'll find myself going long, right? So the trade will then just simply look something like this. Beautiful 1-to-2 ratio, just like that. So it's like that. But that's only if we can have that closure above. All right. So now I have to give the trade a little bit of breathing space. Just like that. Cool. So now all I'm waiting for is the pullback. And then we long. I can remove all the noise. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. D, how are you finding yourself doing this? You are doing magic. No, I'm not doing magic. I'm literally showing you guys how to. All you need to do is apply, 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 apply. If you don't apply, knowledge don't mean nothing to you. And that simply means that you're not learning. And if you are not learning, you're not growing. You are staying stuck at where you are. And if you're going to stay stuck at where you are, you're not going anywhere. All right. So keep that in mind. All I'm waiting for is a pullback so that I can find myself going long. And even if we are having that shift towards the upside, you know what, this will be the area to where I will then monitor price to open up some shorts for me as well. All right. Because all I'm doing now is looking on taking price back into my point of interest above price. All right, fam. So you know what? No trade for me over the course of today. That maybe I will find myself having an opportunity, maybe like the afternoon session whatsoever. But for the New York, you know what? Yes, we expected some beautiful longs, and we can see that price had that beautiful spike towards the upside. However, you know what? We didn't find ourselves being tapped into our point of interest, right? So yeah, you know, these things that are going to find themselves happening. Not every day needs to be a trading day as well, right? Focus on getting those quality setups rather than, you know what, just focusing on getting anything and everything, right? That is not how you want to find yourself approaching this trading, as trading is a business itself, right? You need to know the ins, you need to know the outs, you need to know when and when not. All right, so that right there is it from me, right? If you guys have found yourself learning anything or taking away anything from the session, make sure to drop it in the comment section. It's me, your boy D. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. I'm out.